Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to SAIS. My name is Johannes Urpelainen. I am the director and the Prince Sultan bin Abdulaziz Professor of Energy Resources and Environment, and I'm here today to give you a brief introduction to our program. What I'm specifically going to do is I'm just first going to tell you a little bit about what we are trying to do here, what are the learning outcomes of the program, what our curriculum looks like, how we advise and mentor students, and of the many extracurricular opportunities available to you. After that, I'm going to introduce our terrific staff and faculty who are all here facing the music at the front. I'm also going to let the presidents of our Energy and Environment Club, which is our student club, to tell a bit about the activities this year. And then I'm going to ask Julie Nussdorfer from our Global Career Services tell all of you how you can get an amazing job when you finish your SAIS education. So that's what we are all aiming for, right? That's the plan here. Let me just start by saying a few words about what we are really trying to do here in ERE. So we are really a program that focuses at the intersection of energy and environment. We are not a traditional energy program that just trains engineers to do oil and gas. We are also not a traditional environment program that is focused on, let's say, forest conservation or biodiversity conservation. We want to tackle both of these aspects of the issue. And I think that's very important at a time like this, because if you think of some of the great challenges that we face out there in the world, surely climate change must rank as one of the most important ones. On the other hand, we also have over several billion people, many of whom don't have access to abundant and affordable energy that they could use to power their lives and economies. So how do we make all that work? That's what we are trying to do here in ERE, those kind of complex challenges at the intersection of energy and environment. So I think SAIS is actually a pretty good place to do this. So today, if you study international affairs, you simply cannot avoid studying climate change. Okay? President Trump has announced that the United States will withdraw from the Paris Agreement as soon as possible. And now we have, in the upcoming elections, we have all the Democratic candidates dropping their new climate plans and competing for who has the best plan for that. If we now think of what we can do here at SAIS, SAIS is known for its economics requirements. It has a more stringent quantitative reasoning and economics requirement than some other schools, and that's very important for building the analytical skills. We also have great regional programs. So regardless of whether you are interested in China or South Asia or Japan or Canada, we have a regional program to offer, and that allows you to focus your skills in an area that's of particular interest to you and learn about the background, the context, the language, and all that. So we'd really like to think of ERE as a part of SAIS. All of you should take advantage of all the resources that we have within ERE, but also outside. So go and study economics, study regional, study all the different programs that we have available for you, languages, and all that. Now, when we think of ERE, we think of three themes that kind of guide our research and teaching and public outreach. The first one is economics and markets. If you study energy policy and you don't have a very good handle on economics, I think you're going to be quite ineffective in what you do. You need to understand how markets work. You need to understand supply, demand, regulations, monopolies. These are all very important things that we would like our students to understand. We also put a lot of emphasis on innovation in science, technology, and policy. So if you think of what are some of the drivers that change energy markets, that drive these things, they often tend to be new technologies. They tend to be policies and regulations that govern those new technologies. And even more fundamentally, if you are interested in addressing a problem like climate change or air pollution, you need to understand the basics of the science behind it. So we want to also teach some of this. And then finally, we have a very strong group of political scientists here at SAIS and in ERE, so we put a lot of emphasis on governance. In the end, many of the most difficult problems are not really about technical issues. They're not necessarily even about economics. They are about finding solutions that work for everybody. We can build a coalition to actually make the change happen. And that's all about governance. Okay. Now, to turn these themes into learning, we have these 5 different learning outcomes that we like to emphasize. The first one is just foundational interdisciplinary knowledge. If you don't know how these things work, if you don't know kilowatt hours, if you don't know atmospheric science, this is a very difficult field to be in, so we want to really make sure that everybody has these foundational skills. We also emphasize communication, both kind of incoming, understanding the materials that you read, and also outgoing, dealing with different stakeholders and audiences as you try to advocate or propose policies and regulations. We take both qualitative and quantitative data seriously, so we want our students to be able to, on the one hand, do a case study, be able to sort of study something and draw lessons for policy or business or investment from that, while at the same time also being comfortable with quantitative data sets using different programming languages, statistics, econometrics, and so on. And then finally, all this will hopefully add up to all of you becoming creative problem solvers who can go out there and find new solutions to some of these really difficult problems in our area. So if we can achieve all these 5 things during your time here, which may range from 1 year if you are an MIPP to 2 years if you are in our MA program, then we would be very, very pleased. To get there, we have 3 different components in our program. Obviously, we have the curriculum. So I'll tell you a little bit about the different classes, what they look like, what the structure is, and then I'll ask our outstanding faculty to introduce their classes in a few words. Besides the curriculum, we also put a lot of emphasis on experiential learning. So what we've learned here as doing our work every year is that students really get the best and most significant learning experiences when they can apply what they're learning in the classroom and not just studying it in theory. So we have a practicum program where student teams work with clients. We have internship programs. We have field trips. We have lots of all kinds of events, career treks. These are ways for you to take what you know and put it into practice. And that we think is really important. Finally, we also believe in mentoring. So it's important that students have the ability to work with faculty, with staff, and get a kind of big picture on what we are doing here, why we are doing it, how to make decisions about classes, how to get ready for the job search and all that. So we want to put a lot of emphasis into mentoring. And our administrative director, Margel Hyatt, has many talents. One of them is interior decoration, interestingly enough. It's just one of many, many talents. But she has done a terrific job at kind of restructuring our ERE suite. It's on the 4th floor of the Rome building. Come and check it out. It's an amazing space for all of you to get to meet us and hang out with other students and have deep conversations and maybe even get some actual work done. Now, the curriculum. So the curriculum has 4 levels. We start with these online basics modules. I hope many of you are already done with them or alternatively studying them right now. So we have the online basics of energy, which we've had for quite a few years. And then we have the online basics of environment, which Professor Jordan and one of our adjunct professors, Heather Eves, designed for us in this past year. These are really designed to give you a basic understanding of the field. So what is a kilowatt hour? These kind of things, okay? Really basic things that you need to know to take full advantage of the classes. Then we have a new required class. Informally, we call it the Gateway. Formally, it's called Introduction to Energy Resources and Environment. This is a class that is being taught with the same materials in Bologna, DC, and Nanjing. I'm teaching it here this year. Simone Talia Pietra is teaching it in Bologna, and Roger Wolfer is teaching it in Nanjing. So we have this common foundation. This is something employers, alumni kind of repeatedly tell us, that we want to be sure that all science ERE graduates have some kind of a common foundation. So this is why we have created this new Gateway class. We then have these 7 foundational classes that are fairly broad. Topics like energy economics, climate policy, electricity markets. These are intended to give you a good overview of a specific area that is of significant importance. And then those blue little tiles there, that's my artistic level of skill. They are more specialized classes. We have lots of classes that dig deep into specific areas. So as you move forward with your studies, you can decide, okay, this is what I really want to do, and you can find lots of classes to take to deepen your knowledge there. That's our curriculum. I'm happy to answer any questions later if you have about classes. Advising is a big thing for us. So we've created a new advising system this year where all of you, first of all, have to have a one-on-one meeting with Margel just to go through, okay, who you are, what are you trying to do here, what kind of classes are you taking, what's important for you, what are your interests, and make sure that you are on top of your planning. those of you who are forced to register in the gateway class, that's all of you who are concentrating in ERE, will also have to come to my office hours at least once, so that I get to meet all of you, hear about your thoughts, and give you some advice on how to plan your time here. We're going to review your progress after each semester, not in the sense of sort of Big Brother watching over you, but just to make sure that if it looks like somebody is struggling a little bit and doesn't feel comfortable coming forward, we can reach out to you and ask if there's something we can do to help you kind of think ahead what's coming. Professor John Banks, who's one of our long-standing faculty members, is organizing career panels. These are opportunities to meet with alumni, with employers, and learn about what a job would look like, for example, in the electricity sector. We have also Julie is here, and she's going to tell us, after I'm done with my lengthy remarks, she's going to tell you about the career counseling part. And we also do a lot of stuff with alumni. We have a very active alumni base. That's one of the real strengths of SAIS. So we have alumni student mixers, we have happy hours, we have all kinds of events where you get to meet the alumni. They are real strength in everything from mentoring to the job search. Experiential learning, so we have lots of stuff here. It's a long laundry list of things. I already mentioned the practicum, where student teams work with clients outside. So these could be private companies, it could be the World Bank, it could be the government, really anything. And John is running this program as well. We'll have applications out every spring, so that when you are moving from your first year to your second year, you're going to apply to the program. We have all kinds of internships available. We have very good contacts with different employers. And we also are launching new international internships. If you want to have an experience in Africa or South Asia, for example, it will be possible moving forward. The faculty, many of us do research. So I have an active research program. Sarah has an active research program. If you're interested in working as a research assistant, we'll have many opportunities on grant projects and also using our regular budgets. We have the Initiative for Sustainable Energy Policy, or ISEP. Last year, I had something like 40% of the second year cohort here working for me as internships through this program. So that's a big opportunity for the students. We do lots of field trips, and one of the things I'm going to do today, just in the next slide, is to unveil the main international trip that we have this year, which is going to be huge. So just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. We have the career treks, where Julie and others from our program take you to meet different employers in places like DC, San Francisco, Houston, where you get to meet people who might have some very interesting jobs available for you. We have a very active speaker series. We do a lot of events with our alumni, as I told you. We'll have an annual conference starting in October 23rd on deep decarbonization. We'll have another one on China and India in the spring. The Energy and Environment Club, so I'm going to ask Chantal and Laura to tell us a little bit about the club after my remarks. And then we are putting together a new advisory board, which gets some of our most committed and passionate alumni to come and work with us and create new opportunities for you. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff you can do outside the classroom, and we think that's going to be very important. Yeah. So this is going to be this year's big trip. We have funding from the Star Foundation to take a group of ERE and international law students to the Maldives. This is Malay, this is the capital. As you can see, it has a problem. So we are going there to look at some policy options for adapting to climate change and dealing with the resulting refugee problems. It's going to be great. My colleague Jonas Nam, who's not here because he's on sabbatical this semester, will be there. Dan McGraw from International Law is there. He has actually worked as a lawyer on an arbitration case with the Maldives, so he knows every single bureaucrat and politician in this little one. I'll also be joining you. How could I possibly miss this trip? So I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We had a trip in Pakistan last year, and it was a really amazing experience. So I hope to see a lot of applications for this one as well. Okay, so thank you again. Welcome to the ERE family. I'm very glad to see all of you here. And so what I'd like to do next is I'd like to hear from our faculty, and do you want to? Okay, so let's have also from our faculty and from our staff, and perhaps also from our future staff member, Yanan. So maybe, Shanda, could you just introduce yourself first, then Margel, and then Yanan, if you want to. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So at this point, I think I've met almost everyone, or at least I've emailed everyone. I'm the program manager for ERE, and I'm one of your first lines of defense as you navigate your way through your SICE experience. So please don't ignore my emails when I send them. I'm sending you information on events. I'm sending you information on speaker series, sending you general program updates. So welcome back and welcome to SICE for those who are new, and hope you guys have the best semester ever. Let me introduce you to Yanan. She'll be joining us shortly as our new academic program coordinator.
Shanda. Hello everyone, my name is Yanan Nagata. I was born and raised in China, and I came to DC in 2003. I've been living in DC, become a Washingtonian for 16 years. I will be your new program coordinator. I'm here to serve you, so if you need anything, please let me know. Welcome, and I hope to serve you to ensure you a fabulous life at SICE. Thank you. And by the way, I'm also SICE alumni.
Margel, would you like to?
Hi everyone. It's great to see you all here. Margel Hyatt, and I hope that I will see each of you in my office just to get to know you a bit, to go over your classes, hear how you're liking SICE, any issues. As Shanda says, we really want to be your first line of defense at SICE if anything is going sideways a little bit, or if you just love something and want to tell us how much you love it. We're there for that too. No one has mentioned yet that there is also a candy bowl in the ERE suite. So we hope to see you all there. There are some tables to study. Come in and talk to us, and we just look forward to working with you over the next year. Welcome.
Wonderful. Let's go now through the faculty next. So starting with John, maybe we can just move left to right. That seems to be the easiest. And then after that, EEC, and last but not least, Julie.
Okay, so I'll go first. My name is John Banks. I will be teaching 2 classes this semester. The first is Global Electricity Markets, meets Mondays at 2 p.m. And the second class, we met for the first time yesterday. It's Energy Transitions in the U.S. That meets on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. I'm also, as was mentioned earlier, the lead for the International Energy and Environmental Practicum, which is a program open to second-year students by application only. So you first years, as Johannes mentioned, as you're thinking this semester about next year, as your second years, think about the practicum. You can talk to some students who are currently in it. You can come talk to me about it to get a little bit more information, but hope you'll think about that for your second year.
Hi, I'm Michael Ratner. I'm a new adjunct here. I'll be teaching a class in the spring on natural gas. I am a SICE alum from class of '94. When I started there, ERE, it was the first year. When I started in '92, ERE had just become an official concentration for SICE students. Prior to that, they were just classes. So it's come a long way. Glad to see that. As I said, I'll be teaching a class on natural gas. Currently, for the last 9 years, I've been the main natural gas analyst at Congressional Research Service on Capitol Hill, focusing on both domestic and international issues. And I hope to bring that experience as well as some other experience to the class in helping you understand why natural gas is different than other energy forms, and in how it's used and how it's bought and sold, and the market for it, and the geopolitics around it.
I don't know if does this work? Can everyone can hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Professor Jordan. I am a tenure track professor here. I'm the resident scientist. I come from a physics background, but then I have an interdisciplinary PhD. But don't worry, I have been teaching policy for about 6 years. So you will definitely have fun in the class, in my classes, if you decide to come, but you might see the occasional periodic table, but there will be a reason for it, and you will find out the policy side too. This semester, I am excited to be teaching climate change, science, economics, and politics. And yes, I do include all 3. So those of you who were there yesterday know my class was also 2 to 4:30 on Tuesdays. So we were going through science of climate change yesterday, and we'll progress to understanding be a lot of fun. And I am also teaching Science, Technology, and International Affairs, which is on Monday evenings, 6 to 8:30. And that class really addresses, it's broad, but there's a deep dive that you can take on your term paper. And it's broad in that everything is science and technology and international affairs. So there's so many different topics, everything from artificial intelligence to robotics. And what we do in that class is we take a perspective that enables you to address advances in each of these. So looking from innovation systems to knowledge power of countries and how that can affect the dynamics and power between countries. So I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. I often post research positions, summer fellowships, for example, a limited number. And I'm not in the ERE suite, I'm up here, but definitely feel free to be in touch. My office hours are Wednesday, noon to 2. Looking forward to meeting those of you I haven't met yet.
Everybody hear me? Guess so. I'm Dr. Alex Ovadenko. It's my first time teaching here at SAIS, but I've taught at a number of universities, including Princeton, Washington University in St. Louis, George Washington University in Georgetown. I'll be teaching the global governance class. We're going to focus partly on energy issues in the first half, partly on environmental issues in the second half. It's going to be sort of a wide range of topics in those policy fields, focusing on institutions, but in some cases more on the policy as well. It's going to vary from week to week, so you'll get sort of a broad overview of different topics. It's a policy-laden class. I work in the policy field. I work as an energy regulator, where my sort of field of expertise, if you will, or my responsibility more carefully stated, is the Western United States. So it's a very policy-laden class. There'll be policy memos. I'll have guest speakers from the policy world come and discuss the topics of that session. And I'm also happy to talk to you about careers in energy and environment outside of class or after class. I get a lot of students coming to me about all sorts of internship opportunities, career opportunities, thesis projects that they're working on. So I'm sort of definitely happy to discuss those things with you outside of class. The sessions are from 6 to 8:30, I think, on Thursdays. So for those of you who are enrolled, I'll see you tomorrow. For those of you who are not enrolled, go do that. And we'll cover a lot of important topics.
My name is Caroline Vanderberg. I'm working at the World Bank, mostly on urban and water issues all over the world. And I'm going to be an adjunct professor in the spring, and I will teach sustainable cities, which is a very interesting topic, which you can experience everyday life, whether it's climate change and problems in big cities, and not only in the US but everywhere else. I want to kind of especially focus on the complexity of cities and the different layers of what we need. It's not only about infrastructure, it's also about governance and policies, and of course also about socioeconomic changes and our cultures. And so I'm really looking forward to see you all in January, because I think this is the topic of the century. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Carnovale. I am a postdoc here at SAIS, and I'm going to be teaching this fall environmental and natural resources economics, where we're going to cover market and market failures in the environmental domain. Then we're going to look at natural resource management and access issues. And then we're going to look at sustainable development and the role of private actors in defending the environment. The class is on Wednesdays at 2:30, so for those that are enrolled, I'll see you shortly. And in the spring, I'm going to be teaching adaptation and resilience to climate change.
Okay, I'm Douglas Hengel. I teach geopolitics of energy on Monday afternoons over in Bob. So in his opening remarks, Professor Palanin talked about the different aspects of energy, why it's important, and he mentioned markets and technology and innovation, economics, governance. I would argue that to have a complete understanding of energy, you also need to understand the geopolitics that are involved in that, and that's because energy is also a critical national security issue, whether you're a country that is heavily dependent on energy imports or one heavily dependent on exporting your energy. So that's what we'll be talking about in this class. That used to be a discussion that was traditionally about oil, but it's about a lot more than oil now. In fact, the geopolitics of the energy transition is an increasingly important topic, and that will be part of our discussions. My background is I'm an former American diplomat who worked extensively on energy issues. So I bring kind of a practical policy focus. I'm not an energy scholar by any means. We will have a number of guest speakers during the class because I know a lot of interesting people who I want to expose you to in town here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Subodh Mathur. I will teach energy economics in spring. I'm a card-carrying economist, an economist who does economics, right? Both in the real world and theory, and my course will cover both the real world and theory. But this semester, I'm not teaching, but in case, I have tons of real world practical experience in the US, Asia, Africa for 30 years. And in case any of you are interested in forming a small group to have beer and pizza or whatever, I'll be happy to come and join you and talk to you even before I meet you in my class.
So besides all the faculty that we have here in the room, there's a few people I'd like to just briefly mention, and their classes who are not here today. So one of our professors, Jonas Nam, he's on sabbatical right now, but he is teaching two classes this year. The first one is on renewable and distributed energy policy. So if you're interested in kind of digging deep into that area of electricity markets and policy, that's a good opportunity there. He's also going to be teaching, what am I missing something here? Governance, yes. Okay, thank you. He's going to be teaching comparative energy and environmental governance, where you look at through a series of case studies on solving some of these kind of energy and environmental challenges that we face. Okay. We also have Erwin Villager, who will be teaching a class called Geospatial Dimensions of Energy and Environment. There's a lot of demand for these skills-based classes where students learn practical applicable skills, and geospatial analysis is definitely one of them, so we're very happy to be able to offer that class in the spring. And then we have Winston Yu, who's one of our long-standing adjunct faculty members. He's teaching a water energy food nexus class this semester, and he'll be teaching a class on international water issues in the spring. So those are some of the things there. I've already told you about my gateway class, and since it's required, I don't really need to convince you to take it. You will take it, right? I will also have a class called Quantitative Methods in Energy Resources and Environment in the spring, where you learn how to do data analysis using the statistical language R. So that's available if you're interested in kind of expanding your skills and getting into some quantitative research work in the spring. So take a look at that as we get to the spring semester. I think we are pretty much done here. I don't think I'm missing anybody, at least I hope so. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to ask the EEC presidents to just come to the front and tell the students a little bit about what you have in mind for this year.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura and this is Chantal. We're the co-presidents of the Energy and Environment Career Club for this academic year. For those of us that were not able to stop by at the club for last Friday, you can reach out to us if you want to receive any of our emails that we'll be sending out. We will be having a meeting next Tuesday. It's the first meeting of the year in which we'll go over the events we want want to organize and just to meet you guys. So I recommend that all first years attend the meeting. It's going to be at 4:45 p.m. until 6. There will be free pizza, so I hope all of you show up. And Chantal will just tell you briefly some of the events we had last year and the ideas we have for these coming year.
Great. So I'm Chantal again. I was in Bologna last year, in DC this year, so hello to those of you who I don't know. Yeah, as Laura said, we're having our kickoff meeting next week. We do have some ideas from last year, some panels, conferences, and other events like that we are hoping to repeat, but we're also open to any suggestions from you guys. We want to hear, what you'd be interested in seeing this year. And we will also be sending out a survey to get your input on that as well. And we will be also looking for some volunteers to step up and help us run the club. So if you're interested in that, please do come to the meeting and let us know. And we will be having a happy hour later in the spring, November 1st. So just keep that date in your mind. All right. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Laura and Chantal. And so finally, I'd like to give the floor to Julie, if you could tell us a little bit about those careers.
Great. Thank you so much. So I'm Julie Neusdorfer in the Office of Global Careers, and I work very closely with the ERE program. I see a lot of familiar faces, but those of you I haven't met yet, I look forward to meeting you. We have a lot of really great events that we do every year. I work closely with the Energy and Environment Club and the department. We have a lot of career tracks. We're very lucky in the ERE program. We run a lot of really great career tracks. I think Professor Polainen mentioned them, but I'm currently looking for taking applications for leadership positions for the tracks. So if you're interested, please talk to our club leaders, show up for the meeting, or you can contact me directly or the department and they can forward your information to me. So I'll be interviewing students for the track leadership positions. We have DC Environment track will be Friday, October 18th. That's coming up soon. So if you're interested in leading that track, please do reach out sooner rather than later. Coming up, we have Austin and Houston, and that takes place the last week of, or actually it's the week of January 21st, so the 21st through the 24th. That one's over winter break. We have a lot of really great alumni down there in that area. It's a really fun track. DC Energy track is a Thursday and Friday, March 5th and 6th. And we also have a San Francisco track, which takes place the week after graduation, and that is May 26th through the 29th. And we also see some tech companies on that track, so it's a really great sort of combination of energy and technology careers. And we are doing a new initiative this year where I will be offering career advising hours in the ERE department, specifically for you guys. So those will be taking place on Mondays. So 11 to 12 in ERE, and then also 12 to 1 in Rome 202. So those of you taking Professor Polainen's class can come right from class and meet with me. You don't need an appointment. You can just show up, and I will be there to answer your questions. So again, look forward to meeting all of you and working with you this year. Thank you.
Right, wonderful. Thanks a lot, Julie, for doing that. I think we are pretty much done with the official program. We've covered all the bases. Margel, is there anything I'm missing? Okay, wonderful. So I'm certainly going to stay here for a little while, so if you want to just come and introduce yourself, ask any questions, if there's anything I can do to help you, and hopefully some of the other faculty will also stay behind. So thanks so much for joining ERE, and look forward to working with you this year. Thank you.